Are the safest countries in the world the ones you'd actually expect? While some places struggle with rising crime, others have become very safe and peaceful places. I spent weeks digging through crime reports, safety indexes, personal experiences to come up with the top safest places in 2025. Hey, my name is Henry and welcome to this channel. I like to talk about the best travel destination, expat life, and what it's really like living as a digital nomad. Today we're going to dive into the top safest places for 2025. From my personal experience, this first country definitely feels like one of the safest countries I've ever been. It's because of its laws and because it's a country with high surveillance. Singapore constantly ranks among the safest places in the world, with strict laws and a strong law enforcement presence. Crime is exceptionally low. I visited this country before and I always felt safe at night. Singapore maintains a low crime index of 26.3, so it's one of the safer destinations in the world. Violent crime is rare, and even petty crimes like pickpocketing are uncommon compared to other big cities. Firearms are almost completely banned. Even minor infractions like chewing gum in public can lead to fines. It also helps that there are many cameras around the city, making it even harder for criminals to get away with crimes. Having strict laws and lots of surveillance makes it a lot less likely that any crimes will occur, but online scams have been going up, so that is something you should watch out for. I know when I visited, I felt very safe, but it also felt weird being somewhere with cameras everywhere. So Singapore definitely takes its safety very seriously, and it's definitely one of those places you don't have to really worry about looking over your shoulder. And the people are very well educated there. There's a variety of people there. It's a very expensive country as well. It can be a bit boring in some aspects. I guess that's just what you have to trade for safety. The next place is a beautiful country with lots of lakes, forests, and amazing sights. In the winter, you can see the northern lights in Lapland, or you can even go sledding with huskies. The capital, Helsinki, has cool places to visit like the Helsinki Cathedral. In summer, you can go hiking, island hopping, and enjoy the midnight sun. And you can even go try a Finnish sauna, with over 3 million of them across the country. The place I am talking about is Finland. And the reason it's on this list is because it's a pretty safe country, even though in 2023, Finland had 57 cases of violent crime, which is much fewer than previous years. And even with this crime, it's still one of the safest countries with a low crime index of 26.3. In comparison, France has a 55.3 and Belgium has a 49.2. Finland is known for being clean, organized, and safe. However, there are some concerns with social and cultural factors that may threaten safety. Some people report social exclusion, far-right extremism, and hiring discrimination against non-Finnish speakers. So it can be hard to really blend in with the locals depending on where you go. Helsinki is the most welcoming city for expats, while smaller towns tend to be less welcoming. And you also have some geopolitical concerns such as tensions with Russia. It's sometimes talked about among the locals. And Finnish people also tend to be pretty reserved, which you might mistake it for unfriendliness. Overall, this country is not perfect, but it's a good destination to consider for a safe country. The next place on the list is somewhere everyone dreams of visiting. You have ancient castles, gigantic skyscrapers. You know, it's a country moving into the future, but it still maintains its traditional backgrounds and culture. You can explore busy, beautiful streets in these big cities, or you can go into the countryside or smaller towns and get away from the crowds and go somewhere more peaceful. So this country has a little bit for everyone. And the next place on the list is Japan. Now, the reason I put Japan on the list is because the people there tend to be very passive and really keep to themselves, so they avoid confrontation. Even if they're very drunk, conflict doesn't really tend to happen unless you look for it. Unfortunately, Japan is not as safe as the previous two options. In 2023, Japan experienced a 17% increase in reported crimes, totaling 703,351 cases, marking the second consecutive year of rising crime rates. Sadly, crimes have gone up, and I think there are a lot of unreported crimes occurring in Japan, but what I think makes Japan pretty safe is the lack of violent crimes. Stabbings or shootings are nearly non-existent. Pickpocketing can occur, but only in tourist areas like Shinjuku's Kabukicho. And another great thing is you can leave your belongings out and go to the bathroom and come back, and usually it won't be taken. There's a lot of honor in the society. They try not to steal things. Of course, you shouldn't go leave your stuff unattended, especially if it's expensive, but I think the people are mostly pretty honest, which you don't really get in other countries. They're much more likely to abide by the laws to avoid any harsh punishment. However, I will say for female travelers, it can be very difficult as there are a lot of reports of assaults, especially in crowded areas and trains. There's a problem with that. So if you're a female traveler going there, always be careful. Always be mindful of your surroundings. Try to surround yourself with people you trust, especially on crowded trains or buses. And also, I think Japanese society can be very alienating for people who don't fit in. So the chances of a very serious outburst happening is the only way I think any violent crimes really happen, when someone feels like they hit their limit and they just need to let it out, which in other countries you see that happen more often, but luckily in Japan it's not so common. But this is just what I've noticed from reports, from people's experiences. Japan is pretty safe overall, I'd say. Obviously, just try to avoid pissing off the wrong people and you should be fine. Japan's high level of public safety, culture of honesty, and low crime rates make it one of the safest travel destinations in the world when it comes to petty crime. It's not perfect, but it's a country you can travel with peace of mind in most situations. Now, the next country is by far the most safest country in the world, because first place on this list has dominated the safety rankings for a long time. This place is widely regarded as one of the safest places on earth. Crime is virtually non-existent and most safety concerns are minor, such as cyclists riding in restricted areas and causing crashes. Now, can you guess which country it is? I'll give you a hint. It's the world's 18th largest island and it's located in Northern Europe. The place we are talking about is Iceland. Besides being arguably the safest country in the world, it's also known as one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Iceland looks like a place from another world, with volcanoes, glaciers, geysers, and black sand beaches. It's the perfect spot for people who love nature and adventure. Reykjavik, the capital, is a beautiful city with loads of cozy cafes, great infrastructure, and a wonderful location to spend some time in. But if you don't want to stay in the city, you can get out of the city and go and chase the northern lights. So Iceland is both a place you can feel excited and you can feel very safe. Unfortunately, in 2024, Iceland saw a jump in homicides with 8 cases. Now, compared to other places in the world, that's very low. However, for their standards, it's pretty high. This is a big change from the past, as the country averaged only 1.9 homicides per year between 1999 and 2019. Even with this increase, Iceland is still one of the safest places in the world. If you want to compare it to other countries, Venezuela and Papua New Guinea have some of the highest crime rates, with crime index scores of 82.1 and 80.4. Meanwhile, Iceland's index score is only 25. So it's a lot safer than many places in the world. It's a country you can go to, and for the most part, you don't have to look over your shoulders really. Obviously still be smart, but you don't really have to worry about violent crime. It has one of the lowest homicide rates in the world, comparable to Singapore. Crime is extremely rare unless one is involved in organized crime, which you're unlikely to encounter as a tourist. As a traveler, you can feel safe walking around at night and in most areas, but you should still have some common sense and watch your belongings and lock your doors. Now, the biggest risks in Iceland come from nature. The country's landscapes can be challenging, and tourists tend to underestimate the roads and hiking trails, since many activities in Iceland involve the outdoors. You should also be careful about going out into remote areas alone. Always have a guide or a group of friends to go with. Icy roads and the unpredictable weather can be really dangerous as well, so always be prepared for whatever climate you might encounter in Iceland. Overall, this place is really safe compared to other countries in the world. Low homicide rates, a very educated and sensible population. The only thing you really have to worry about is nature and the harsh climates of Iceland. So I think this is a great place if you want to go somewhere very safe and not have to look over your shoulder or worry about violent crimes. Now, if safety is a key decision in where you go next, then I think these 4 countries are great options to consider. They offer some of the most secure environments, from peaceful landscapes of Iceland to the highly structured society of Singapore. You can explore these destinations with confidence and a peace of mind, so I definitely recommend giving one of them a try. Have you been to any of them? I'd love to hear your opinions on these countries and which countries you think are most safe.